Hi, Elle Ingalls here at elleingles.com, pressure-free.com. Topic today is driving. So a client said to me recently that twice she almost accidentally got up onto the highway and she didn't trigger the stress response. And this was a huge breakthrough for her. I can understand why now, living in the city where I live. I'd rather drive in New York City, to be honest. I think our city has to do something about this. My son and my husband were on a horrific rear-end crash a little while ago. There's crashes every day in this city, and I think, wow, people just drive way over the speed limit. This is crazy. And here's the reason why. They're all triggered on stress hormones. If your drive or your commute is 15 minutes or more, chances are that you have triggered and you may not know it. There was one study that said, I think it was like 95% of people who drive more than 15 minutes to get anywhere have triggered the stress response. What does that mean? That means their body is now in fight or flight, which means on the road that you can see something as a threat when it really isn't. That's why it can be really hard for people who do know that the highway scares them. They don't even want to drive on the highway. They'll ask someone else to drive. So here's how you can know if you've triggered the stress response. Are your hands tight on the steering wheel? That's one of the first things you can notice. If your hands are tight on the steering wheel, then you've got tension going on in your body. Are you leaning a little bit forward toward the steering wheel? That's another clue that you might have triggered fight or flight while you're driving. Are you suddenly snippy with everybody in the car? That's definitely a clue. Are you starting to worry about your day? Or maybe you were already worried, so you were even triggered before you got in the car. That could be true too. I wish that we had this little thing that took a stress test, and any driver who was under the influence of stress hormones could not drive. Your car would just shut down. I would love that because there'd be very few people on the road, and you wouldn't have all that crazy erratic driving. Another thing that I thought about, because we're getting into winter here, we still have another week and a half or so of fall, but we're going to start to get ice on the roads and snow on the roads, and most of the accidents that happen are because people overreact with their steering wheel. You'll see this in young drivers. I watched a really bad accident of it was a car full of teenagers. They overcorrected coming off of an exit. And they rolled over 10 times, like right as I was driving on the highway. It was pretty freaky. But it was an overcorrection. So I remember learning about that with my dad boating on Lake Winnipesaukee. He'd like, Pammy, don't overcorrect. Don't overcorrect. You certainly don't want to do that in a car. A boat, you got a little more leeway. You got the whole lake you're working with. But you don't want to overcorrect. A lot of people try to dock a boat, they overcorrect. When you're trying to back up, you'll overcorrect. That's because backing up is a little nerve-wracking. You may trigger just because you're backing up. So you want to watch for these things, because once you get to your destination, if you triggered the stress response, you're not going to be as cognitively functioning as you want to be. Maybe you're going to a meeting. Maybe you're going to, you're taking your child to school, and they've triggered too, if you've triggered, by the way, because stress is contagious. And now they're not going to remember their math facts when they go in to take the test. So I think it's really amazing what happened for my client. You know, she's been working with me for a while, and to have her be able to just easily get up on the highway and off, like, we think of that as a simple thing, but for her it was really hard. That's another point I'd like to bring up this morning, is that everybody's stressors are different. What stresses you out might not stress out anybody else in your family. People may even make fun of you because of the stressors that you have. Your stressors are real, but you don't need to trigger the stress response. That is the whole key to pressure-free. That's the differentiator. That's why if you're in therapy now, couple it with pressure-free, and you'll see so much happen for you. It's really, really cool what starts to happen. So that's my little deal this morning. I hope you have a great pressure-free day. I see some great friends on here. My cousin originally from New Hampshire, Janet, Janine, Dana, thanks for being with me. Have a great pressure-free day. If you're watching the replay, feel free to share out. If you know someone who has trouble driving. Maybe they can't even, pass their driver's test because they're so afraid. Let's have a conversation. Just go to speakwithL.com. I'll put the link below, and have a great day. Bye.